Level 1.
Welcome all to the first of 2 races in a row to end out this season at the Sunrise Speedway. I'm sorry once again about the schedule change. I really wish we didn't have to do that, but we do. We have ourselves a 10-lap race today to decide, hopefully, who gets into the Final 4 and will compete for a championship at Bristol. But to do that, we must first get to know our drivers. And starting first today, here is Christopher Bell. He's been blistering fast here today. Showed speed in practice and in qualifying. We'll see if that carries over to the race. Right next to him is his teammate Ty Gibbs, locking out the front row for Toyota. They were fast earlier in the season and they're fast now. Gibbs is back to P2 in qualifying. See if he can try to steal this win from Bell. And next to them is an underdog in the form of Chris Buescher. He's kind of underrated at 1.5 miles, but for this one, he's just seemed good all weekend. We'll see if anything goes wrong in this race or if he'll be able to hold off and possibly steal an upset win. Now we have your 2 faster Hendrick boys, William Byron and Kyle Larson. These 2 have been the force of Hendrick Motorsports for the entire season thus far, minus Chase Elliott, who won last week out at the Farland Speedway. But these 2 are starting to make Hendrick look like themselves again, as they've qualified inside the top 6. And the guy who won this race earlier in the season, Bubba Wallace, he starts 7th here today. Still a good qualifying effort from him. Not the best, and definitely not what they wanted to see after winning and leading every lap of that race. He dominated that thing. They changed up their setup and brought a different car this time, so we'll see if that affects how he performs today. And they've got Eric Jones, Legacy Motor Club, number 43 car starting in 10th. They are leaving their manufacturer Chevrolet after the end of this season for Toyota. So we'll see if that affects their speed, but they're giving it all they have with Chevrolet for the end of this season. And starting a little towards the rear of the field is Joey Logano's car, but that is not Joey Logano driving. That is actually Cole Custer. He's going to finish out the season with the 22 car, as Logano was involved in a huge crash at the Farland Speedway last week, where the car looks like a sprint car, as it just flipped multiple times and landed a huge hit on the back end of that car. And that has broken Logano's back. He will be out for the rest of the season. So unfortunate to see his playoff hopes maybe drop to the bottom of the point standings. But who knows, Custer may be able to get that car some much needed points. He will be racing for Joey Logano's points, not his own. And starting at the rear of the field is a guy who's had terrible luck at this track earlier in the season. It's Kyle Busch, and he's having more bad luck right now. He just got booted to the rear from his 7th place qualifying position ahead of Bubba Wallace for an unapproved adjustment during qualifying. So we'll see how far he can rally back up the field. And if he can maybe turn that luck around, we'll see. As the engines are fired, let's go ahead and take a look at your starting lineup for today's race. Row 1 is going to be Christopher Bell and Ty Gibbs. Row 2, Chris Buescher, Denny Hamlin. Row 3 is Kyle Larson and William Byron. Row 4 is best buddies Bubba Wallace and Chase Elliott. Row 5, Josh Berry, pretty good qualifying effort from him, and Eric Jones. Row 6, Brad Keselowski in the 6th, and John Hunter Nemechek in the 42, just outside the top 10, right up there with his teammate. Behind them you have Alex Bowman and Ryan Blaney. Behind them you have Cole Custer and Daniel Suarez. Behind them is Austin Cindric and Ryan Preece. And at the rear is Kyle Busch, as aforementioned. But now, let's get ready to come down to the restart zone, where we will see the green flag. And the green flag is on. We are racing at Sunrise Speedway. And Denny Hamlin almost in the wall in turn 1. I think he's got a tire going down as Ty Gibbs and Christopher Bell get away with the lead. And around goes Hamlin into the wall. almost spinning back in front of traffic, and caution is out. Immediately on lap number 1, Denny Hamlin's tire blows going into turn 3. It looks like it was down from, I think he made contact accidentally with the 17. And there you can see it just blows right into turn 3. Nothing Denny Hamlin can do about it. It just goes out on him right there. Almost collects Ryan Blaney, Daniel Suarez, and a couple others as well. It's nice of them to avoid everything. Denny Hamlin tried to keep it on the wall. But nonetheless, we will be back. And we are back here at Sunrise Speedway. Now you will notice another car here. That is the 85 car for Color Canyon Racing. This is their first start in the series, but we'll get back to them later. Their hauler did not arrive in time. Anyway, we are back green at Sunrise. Look at Chris Buescher, 3 wide through the middle. He's going for the lead, but not before Christopher Bell can do anything about it on the outside. Buescher will clear him into 3 as Wallace clears Gibbs for 3rd. A nice flyby of the field here. And whoa, car on the wall, that's a 42. And upside down in the grass, John Hunter Nemechek goes up and over into the grass. Takes a tumble off of the bumper of the 85 car, whom we just mentioned. And let's take a look at what happened. I think he just got pushed wrong, and then just the car goes completely over. There's another angle there. The car I don't know, it just rolled over. I guess when it got in the grass off of the pavement, then it just rolled over. But a tough break for John Nemechek. That's the second DNF he's had at this track each time he's been here. But tough luck for him. He will go to the underneath the track garage, and we will come back with Buescher still leading over Bell. And welcome back to Sunrise Speedway. Let's see if we can keep it together for more than one lap. Well, I believe these guys can do it. And we have a bunch of guys in the top 5 that have not won yet this season. They all want this win equally as much. So we'll see who's going to come out on top. Who has the willpower to do whatever it takes. But nonetheless, we're back on the loud pedal. Green flag is back in the air at Sunrise Speedway, and it's a whale of a jump for Brad Keselowski, who makes it 3 wide, already passing Ty Gibbs. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead. Buescher slides a little bit there. He'll clear Bell, but he will not go unchallenged. Here comes Wallace. Contact down the front straightaway. 2 laps to go. Wallace sends it in, but Buescher's ready. He crosses him over, and Wallace fights back on the inside. Keselowski's still battling. Bell now clears him. Wallace forces Buescher up the track a little bit. White flag in the air for Bubba Wallace. Here comes Keselowski to the bottom, trying to make a run. What can Keselowski do? Wallace trying to go 2 for 2. Keselowski is not finished. He sends it around the outside, and Keselowski will steal the win out of nowhere. What a finish. And just when we all thought it was going to be between Wallace and Buescher, Brad Keselowski somehow finds a way. Buescher and Wallace were battling loose cars all day. Keselowski's was handling perfectly. And Wallace takes the white flag, goes to the bottom to try to defend. He thinks Keselowski wants the bottom here, so he goes to the bottom, but Keselowski just rips the top so well and ends up taking the win, and he'll burn it down on the front straightaway. And that means I think he is going to Bristol. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll check when we get to the points. Well, it was a good day for Brad Keselowski and for some drivers, but for others it was not. Like Christopher Bell, he comes up just short again of winning at this track. We'll see what he can do in the next race, in the very next race that we do. But let's go ahead and take a look at your point standings. But first, your race results. Brad Keselowski finishes first with Chris Buescher third. Good day for RFK, and good day for Eric Jones as well, ninth with no manufacturer support. That's really good for that team. Ty Gibbs 7th, good for him as well. Good effort for Bubba Wallace, who finishes 2nd. And down here you see some of the names that, like John Hunter Nemechek, crashed out. Ryan Preece, Austin Cindric, they have not had very good seasons up to this point. Kyle Busch just comes oh so close to a top 10 but can't manage it. He's just had not very good luck at this track, and that should say Cole Custer. And now here are your points. You got Christopher Bell in the lead with William Byron trailing not that far behind. Bubba Wallace is in there, and Chase Briscoe holds on to the final spot. Keselowski gets up to 6th. If he wins next week, he can probably point his way in. But we'll see if he can dethrone Chase Briscoe or Bubba Wallace, as those two have not had a good past couple of races up to this point. But we'll see what they can do. That is going to be it for us today, folks. Hope you enjoyed this race today and this program that you watched. Now go watch something else. Bye.